am Sophie Ndaba, and you are watching Joburg Today.
The Great Train Race, the first thing is it's not really a race in that we don't compete. In 1930 there was an event when the vintage Bentley won Le Mans and at Calais, and they were all having dinner after the 24-hour race, and then somebody said to Wolf Bonata, are you going back to, this was in Monte Carlo, are you going back to Calais, are you going back to Calais on the blue train? So he said, no, I'm in a hurry, I'm going in my Bentley. So the race was on.
We've been running it now for 3 years, and we just had this idea to have all the planes, trains and cars together, and just hopefully everything's coordinated at the same time, same place, and there's some lovely photographic opportunities for it.
And so what we've done is we're lucky enough in the Johannesburg community to have a beautiful vintage Bentley. So when we discovered there was a piece of road where the railway line is alongside the road to Magaliesburg, we put together the so-called Great Train Race. So we all, with a Bentley in the front, we with the vintage cars, we all drive behind, and then the train slows down. And then this year we had we were lucky enough, the Reef Steamers, who runs the train side of things, has organized a double header, which is almost unheard of in South Africa. So we've got the unbelievable spectacle of the double header steam engine, and then we've got the vintage aeroplanes, and some of these vintage cars are priceless, mine notwithstanding. But we all have a lot of fun, and it's a fantastic event for us. It's quite amazing how, with the advent of technology, a lot has changed, but very little has changed. I mean, that steam train and the cars, that could be a picture going back right to 1930, 1940. The transport hasn't really changed. The technology's refined it, but the essence of what we're doing, these cars still have 4 wheels, steering wheels. They're putting gas at the same gas station as the latest, As much as it is a memory, it's also a celebration of how things have stayed the same.
This is a 1909 Star, right? It was actually brought out in 1909 by one of the Randlord's engineers, or actually it was a mine manager that worked on Randfontein Estates, and he used this car to travel between Randfontein Estates and his farm in Witbank, journey that took him 3 days. I think in those days we never had roads, so it was opening and closing farm gates. So a journey in total of 3 days, Randfontein to Witbank. Today it takes 1.5 hours at most. The car was in use up until 1922. Then it was decommissioned. They used the engine as a generator for electricity. It wasn't powerful enough. The chassis was used as a farm wagon. Then at some stage everything was actually buried. And in 1980 somebody heard about this car on the same farm in Witbank, and he went looking for it, excavated all the bits and pieces, and was recommissioned, and about 1986 was back on the road again.
Well, it's a nice collectible piece. I mean, it's completely handmade. It's a replica, 1909 reliable Dayton, all made by myself. It's called a horseless carriage because it's got an engine inside, and it was actually built for the roads that were basically bad in those days. It's got the same track width as a carriage, horse-drawn carriage, and that's why they made them. It could actually go through deep mud. You can almost call it a 4x4 of the day. Most of the cars in those days already had steering wheels, but this particular model didn't have it. I mean, that's where it all started, with tiller steering. But they continued building it like that in 1909 on this particular model.
We have these cars and we pass them on to the next generation. I think the cars of today won't be able to be restored, but I think all of these old cars will still be on the road in another 100 years' time.
These are the Rembrandts of vintage cars, and we're so lucky to have them, to be able to see them and experience them in action rather than as museum pieces.